It's weird how I move and then it doesn't move until like 2 seconds later. Zero? That's me. All right. You're still recording. Yeah. This one will probably take 25 minutes. When I'm done.
Hello, welcome everybody. It's a beautiful day here at Seven Summits Lodge. We have the lovely, talented, handsome chef Dino Cruz here. He's going to prepare strawberry shortcake today, which is an item that's on our dessert menu. We have a few Trilogy members that are really partial to this dessert. When we took it off the dessert menu for a little while, about a year ago or so, they kept asking, when are you bringing the strawberry shortcake back? So as usual, I look forward to these every week so that I can taste the lovely creations. So if you have any questions, type them in the text bar and enjoy. Dino, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you for joining us today. We are making strawberry shortcake. So we have 3 components for our recipe. We will have the scones that we're making. We're going to have a fresh strawberry compote in simple syrup. And then we're also going to have some homemade whipped cream. So we're going to start by making the dough first. You can use a paddle attachment or a dough hook, but a paddle attachment works. And we are just going to, actually let me run through the ingredients real quick. We have 1.5 cups of flour, all-purpose, plus a little bit extra, just for rolling it out. We have a 1/4 cup of sugar, 1/2 cup of milk. This instance, I'm using 2%. We have a 1/4 cup plus a couple tablespoons of whole butter. It's been sitting at room temperature for a good hour now. We have, I believe it's a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I'm using kosher salt. We have 2.5 teaspoons of baking powder. And then we only need about 1/2 an egg, but obviously I had to crack a whole egg there. All right, so we're going to start by combining our 1.5 cups of flour. So when you do the flour, just kind of take your finger and make sure it's a nice, flat, even cup there. And then you can just you can either have your 1/2 cup measure or just kind of guesstimate a little bit, which should be fine there. So we do have a little extra for rolling out our dough. Got the sugar in there. Get that in there. We have our salt. Make sure pop it all in there. And our baking powder. Okay. So we're just gonna. Power issue. Hopefully this one. Okay, power issues here. Let's see. Okay, let's try this plug back here. If not, we can do it by hand. Not a big deal. Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry, you guys. For some reason, I'm not. Probably should have tested it. But for some reason, I'm not getting any. Oh, there you go. Okay, we found a plug that works all the way down here. So I hope you guys can still see me over there. All right. So again, we have our 1.5 cups of flour, 1/4 cup of sugar, 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt, and 2.5 teaspoons of baking powder. We're just going to mix that on, I'd say like medium-low here, just to kind of make sure it's mixing up properly. While it's doing that, we are going to add, we have a separate bowl here. We're going to add our 1/2 cup of milk and 1/2 an egg. And we're going to combine that together. She's doing here. All right, so we have our 1/2 cup of milk and 1/2 an egg in here. And then our butter as well. So at this point, about 30 seconds into it, we are going to add our butter. Keep in mind that once you add the butter, some flour tends to kind of fly. So make sure your mixer is on low, and then you can always turn it up if you need to. So we're just going to add the butter in there. And I'm going to add, I'm going to show you guys, but really once the butter is incorporated in the flour, where we can't see large chunks of butter anymore, that's when we're going to add our milk and egg mix. So really probably about 30 seconds. Depends how room temperature your butter is, but it should be about 30 to 60 seconds. Sometimes I have to lift it up a little bit there. All right. Make sure you turn it off before you do anything and stick your hand in there. So we're going to mix it up so it kind of looks like sand, just to show you guys. So we're going to add it in there. So for the most part, it's like sand. Okay. Again, on low speed, we are going to add our liquid. Just a slight drizzle in there. So it's all the way gone. Okay. And then we do have a rubber spatula, so we can scrape the sides off. See me over there. Okay, so again, make sure it's turned off. And we'll really we're going to mix it up until it's incorporated properly. And I can show you guys what we're looking for here in about 30 to 45 seconds. So scone flour, that's something you definitely don't want to overmix. So once it's incorporated, you're good to go. It's not, overmixing it is definitely not ideal. So we're going to scrape some of our delicious goodness here. Now, if the dough's a little wet, that's okay, because we do have the extra flour that we're going to use. And there's no proofing necessary or anything like that. Okay. So let me just get it out for you guys. I just want to. So really, it's a little bit sticky. I'm using gloves. It's not ready to eat food, so you don't necessarily have to use gloves, but it's nice to just not get your fingers all floured up. So we do have a nice bowl. As you can see, it's a little bit sticky, so that's okay. We are going to do a little bit of flour here. And also a quick pointer, I did use plastic wrap, saran wrap, and just kind of cover the area that you're going to use. It helps keep the counter clean, easy cleanup, and also your area is sanitary. We don't want to put it directly on the counter. So that's also a sanitary issue, having the plastic wrap there. Okay, and then we're just gonna, so really, this is a really nice dough. I love this recipe. So as you guys can see, like it's, when I push my fingers in it, the imprint stays on there, and that's what we're looking for. So at this point though, we can knead it a few times. So that I'm just gonna bring out the outside and bring it to the center, kind of like make a ball. Okay. Probably, let's go about 3 or 4 times here. Again, scone flour, we don't want to overmix or over knead. It's just something that, you know, we just gotta, as soon as it's mixed, pretty much ready to go. So that looks good. Surface is nice and smooth. And then, so now I'm gonna check, now my fingers don't imprint as much. So that's the kneading there, we kneaded the dough. So we want to do it enough times where it has a little bit of resistance. So I guess one more time, let's do one more time here. So it has a little bit of resistance. So if you're imprinting your fingers on there and it's staying on there pretty well, then you probably need to knead the dough a little bit more, okay? So for this instance, I have a mold shaper. So it's for biscuits. You can use this, or you can just make triangles out of it as well. So if you're going to do triangles out of it, so you're going to start with that slightly circular shape there, and you know you can make triangles by just kind of slicing it, and then you know just making the shapes out of with using a knife. Really simple. But for this one, we're going to use this. So again, thickness-wise, we're looking at about 1 inch. So about 1 inch thick, and probably about 6 to 7 inches round. Okay. So we have our scone there, and then I have over here is a parchment paper with a aluminum baking sheet. No greasing necessary. We'll just put it right on there. So this will make about 4 to 6 scones. Okay, we're just making nice shapes out of here. And also keep in mind our oven's been preheated at 400 degrees. And it's going to take about 10 to 15 minutes. So I did 4 out of there, and we still have a little bit of dough here, so we can just kind of rework that dough, doing a little kneading again. Okay. Get that there. And then this one, maybe we'll do a little one here. A little test sample. Okay, so now I'm going to go in the oven, preheated, again at 400 degrees, convection. We might need to rotate it halfway through. Keep that in mind. All right, it's going to go in now. Next step. Let me get this washed real quick. Can I get this washed and brought out again, please? Thank you, sir. Okay. So I'm going to have Micah run our mixing bowl through the machine real fast. So scones are completed. We can go ahead and clean up this mess. Ta-da. Super easy. I'm going to get flour everywhere. That's also how I do pizza dough. Okay, next step are the strawberries. So I'm going to put some gloves on here. 1 pound of strawberries washed. We have our simple syrup, which is sugar and water. We're going to turn that on. Medium high there. Just when it starts to boil, we'll turn it off. Okay. So again, 1 pound of strawberries, thoroughly washed. We're going to slice it up. Let's do wedges. It's a little bit nicer presentation-wise, so we're just going to cut wedges out of these. nice thicker pieces of strawberries. Slicing the tops off, obviously. And then we'll check our scones in about 5 minutes, about 5-6 minutes here. Now it's not going to brown like a biscuit, for example. So it's a very light brown. These are organic strawberries. That's what we use here at the club. Okay. So really 1 pound of strawberries, I'm not like weighing it. It's just a 1 pound container that you buy at the store. Okay. So we have our bowl, our clean bowl that we use to wash our strawberries in, and we're just gonna slice little wedges. Get rid of some of these leaves here. Now, this is something you can make a day ahead of time, maybe even a couple days ahead of time. But after that, the strawberry starts turning different translucent and doesn't look so appealing. So I'd say probably 2 days, 3 days maximum shelf life. Same with the scones. Maybe you can go 5 days in the scones if you refrigerate it. But at room temperature, you know, probably about 3 days, tightly wrapped container, and then put it in the fridge for a couple more days. Now, you can also freeze it if you had to, but it's such an easy thing to make. All right, so I have our bowl of sliced strawberries there. And it looks like our simple syrup, which is our sugar water here, is going to start boiling any second. And then our third component is going to be whipped cream. So we have our mixer. This time we're going to use a whip attachment. And our ingredients are heavy whipping cream, 36%, some powdered sugar, and pure vanilla extract, so not that fake vanilla stuff. We're not going to need all of this. So usually I do, when we make it here at the club, we'll do a quart of cream and a 1/4 pound of sugar. That's just a nice ratio to go. 1/4 cup of powdered sugar, 1 quart of cream seems to work. You can obviously add more sugar if you want it a little sweeter. That's why we have tasting spoons, so we can taste our cream and make sure it's sweet enough. Okay, I'm gonna go grab our mixing bowl real quick. Got that?
I wouldn't change that there. I basically have any kids.
Okay, so we're back. We got our mixing bowl. It's a little warm because it came right out of the dishwasher, so we're going to just put a little bit of cold water in there. Okay. Make sure it's dry. Now, whipping cream, obviously, you can make it by hand as well. So if you have like a handheld mixer, or if you've attended some of the cooking classes we have here, the members would actually hand whip their own whipped cream. But for this instance, we are going to use a machine. Okay, so I'm going to probably just do, you know what, actually I do need some for the restaurant, so I'm going to go ahead and just make enough for the restaurant as well. So again, it's 1 quart of whipping cream. I'm using 36% fat, and then this is a 1 pound box, so about 1/4 of the box. Always on low first, otherwise you're gonna get sugar and cream everywhere. And then we're gonna do a little squirt of vanilla, probably about a teaspoon there. You can gradually turn it up. But you just want to make sure it's not, the ingredients are gonna fly everywhere. Okay. All right, that's maximum speed there. We're gonna check our scones. Looking good. Gonna do a quick rotate. Looks like about another 7 minutes and we should be good. Okay, our cream's gonna take a few minutes just because of the volume. I'm gonna grab some plates. Plates for us. Got us a couple plates here. Okay, back to our simple syrup. We have a simmer going on. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it off. Keep in mind, the sugar in there is extremely hot. So the handle's gonna be a little warm there as well. So we're just gonna pour that right into the strawberries there. We're gonna take our rubber spatula and just kind of stir it around there. And this is the point where if I were to use it later in the evening, I would go ahead and throw it in the refrigerator right now. I'm covered. So again, keep in mind, this is probably best at least a couple hours before you use it. So after I did this, about 2 hours before you use it to kind of maximize the flavor, but also even using it the next day should be just as good. So we got there. All right, let's check our whipped cream here. Again, turn it off. We're going to scrape the sides. Get some of that strawberry sugar off of there. So we're looking for a stiff peak. That's when it holds shape and doesn't collapse on you. Really close. Again, this is heavy whipping cream, powdered sugar, and vanilla extract. And I did rotate our scones as well. I wasn't really keeping track of time, but it felt like about 7 minutes. Okay, I'm gonna lift that up just to really get the bottom there. It's actually there. We're gonna give it a quick taste just to make sure. Oh yeah. I like it with sweet, but not like sickly sweet. So, because again, we do have simple syrup and sugar as well, so that's going to add a little bit more sweetness. Okay, so we have our whipped cream. I made a lot because we do need it for the restaurant. But, one way to find out is, will our whipped cream spill on our head? Oh, no, we're good. That is not a camera trick, by the way, guys. That's cream right there, and it's not going to fall on our head. Oh, a little bit did. That was for comedy purposes. Okay. All right, we're going to check our scones. It looks really almost there. Let's bring it up for you guys. So again, we're not looking for like a super brown. So this is actually, I would say this is ready to go. So let's lift it up. So we have some browning on there. Okay. I didn't time it, but it's 12:23. So I'm assuming that was about 15 minutes. Sorry, Okay, we have our plates here. We're gonna slice our biscuits, or I'm sorry, our scones. They do kind of look like biscuits. Super fresh, nice and warm. Doug's gonna love it. So we have one there. Take our spoon. I like to put a little bit of the syrup on the biscuits as well, because, you know, it's going to be a little crispy on the outside. So that way we have some multiple textures in there. You know, we're going to have the slight crispy of the scone, and then the fresh strawberries, and then the whipped cream. A little nice, healthy dollop of whipped cream there. Okay. We're going to take this other biscuit here. So that looks really good there. We're going to say we're going to use the top part. So we kind of have a shortcake sandwich, but we're going to go another layer. I always like to do a double layer. So again, a little bit more simple syrup on there. Okay. And then we're going to take our whipped cream. All right. There you go. Fresh homemade scones, fresh strawberries, everything from scratch. Perfect dessert for a nice warm evening. And voila. Enjoy. Thank you.